trust me. My ex arranged to have me arrested and denied bail in Ontario because he told police I was schizophrenic, dangerous, and he feared for his safety. I was arrested, denied bail, passed in jail for 3 months. All these charges were dropped. They're all false. It was just simply him trying to gain advantage in our divorce proceedings. It's criminal what's been done to me. So all I'm saying is right now, I'm exposed.
Do you know the mechanisms? Obviously, you've been through this. You know the mechanisms to deal with civil disputes. You know all those mechanisms.
Yeah, the mechanisms do not work, at least in Ontario, because every level of public service has been infiltrated by gang stalking in Ontario, and I have evidence that they are here in Newfoundland as well. It's all on my site. And you've got women, you've got Tina Moores in the Crown Prosecutor's Office who's involved. And apparently,
why is that?
Because immediately after she refuses to return phone calls or emails, the Crown refused to give me full disclosure for 4 months. They lied to me in court about how I would get that full disclosure, and then about
That's
10
in relation to something from percentage, is it?
Yeah. And so
sorry.
immediately after I was in contact with this woman, Tina Moores of the Crown Prosecutor's Office, I believe in St. John's, someone from the Chief Information Office in Paradise was on my website and downloaded like a lot of pages. So there's a connection between Tina Moores of the Crown Prosecutor's Office and someone operating out of the Chief Information Office in Paradise, and I have evidence of this. It's on my website as well. I mean, I'm not sure how much you know about gang stalking, but it's basically covert organized crime where they target individuals are targeted, so it's human targeting, and it facilitates human trafficking. And this syndicate is linked to a human trafficking network that's international, and I have evidence of all of that as well, and it's on my website. If you were to go to PFI, like Peter Frank Igloo, so PFI.ROCKS, you'll see, the very first tab will show you who might be interested in having me arrested, and that's a lawsuit against 2 crooked lawyers in Ottawa. And it's a $3.5 million lawsuit. I just served the amended claim yesterday. All the links are in there, and now I'm uploading evidence. That's the first tab. If you went all the way over to gang stalking, I'm starting to re-upload. My site has been shut down twice, so I'm rebuilding this site for the 3rd time. I was hoping to do it.
What caused it to get shut down?
Oh, I get falsely accused, arrested, and the Crown Prosecutor in Ontario, in Ottawa, says you don't get out of jail unless you remove your site from public view. So this happened when I started implicating all of the judges.
So in order for the court to impose that, there must be something that is, confidential, concerning, out there in the public domain.
No, it's all, they're crooked. I've dirt on 30 judges. At one time I was uploading evidence against my sociopathic ex on LinkedIn. Yeah. Now my LinkedIn account, that was shut down. I was followed by 750, mostly academics, psychologists, counselors. They were thanking me for my work exposing sociopathy and me trying to get a divorce. And then, this is back in 2019, my sociopathic ex calls the Crown Prosecutor, or the cop, and says, this is criminal harassment. She's writing about me on LinkedIn. Within 48 hours, crooked Judge Kevin B. Phillips issues a gag order. So he had no jurisdiction, because he had no right to change my release order.
Just let me understand something, Deirdre.
Sure.
Can I call you Deirdre or Miss Moore, whatever you prefer?
Yeah, Deirdre's fine.
Let me understand something. Everyone you deal with, everywhere you go, every system in place is, in multiple provinces, is linked to a national or international group that is focused around corruption to make your life, I guess, miserable.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just one of many targets.
Okay, so you're one of the targets.
Yeah, like when they emptied when they emptied my house in 2019, it contained half.
You're suggesting judges. You're suggesting Crown attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
You're suggesting who else? Police.
Well, if you go to if you want, first of all, let me finish the gang stalking, and then I'll show you the swim lanes. So if you go to the tab on my website, under the first tab under gang stalking is cell structure. If you click on cell structure, you're going to see how they're organized internationally. And there's a 48-minute on the left-hand side after the first image. You're going to see a 48-minute voiceover, where basically
that's okay. I'm just trying to understand in totality here now.
Sure. So if you go to the
if this is going on in society or in our country, there's a bigger picture and maybe from a national perspective. So I'm really trying to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, how this is occurring in Canada.
Yeah, for sure. And I can probably give you the name of 20 other people that this has happened to, not just in Canada, but in the US, the UK, and Australia. It's a model that's been rolled out internationally. If you go to the 5th tab, which says Ottawa swim lanes, I mean, I've been trying to articulate, it's so complex. I've been trying to find the way to articulate it in a way that's easy to digest, just to get someone to go, wow, really? Is this really happening? Then I can produce all the evidence to prove it. But it's so wicked and so complex. So I broke it down. Now, Kiska.com, that's my ex. And this is, that company that's where basically probably a database exists where there's individuals are targeted, tagged, etc. So then if you keep scrolling down, what I did to try to explain this beast of a system is I reverse engineered it. I'm a chartered financial analyst with a strong business background, and so my ex is an MBA. He built this how to dispose of a spouse system, and I reverse engineered it. So what's the syndicate's goals? Well, that's under A. Basically steal everything I have. I'm an empath versus a sociopath. Steal everything I have, torture me and my kids, and hopefully drive me to suicide, which didn't work. So what are the objectives? What objectives did they follow to try to achieve those goals? That's in column B. Parental alienation, child alienation, poverty and homelessness. And they're all listed there. So then what strategies do they use to reach those objectives? Well, so I'm starting, again, this is my 3rd time building this out. So I'm explaining all the different strategies that are used by this syndicate. Right, but that's not giving me any
tangible evidence for your accusation.
Okay, hang on.
Of a systematic.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So
corrupted.
If you go over to
multi-jurisdictional, national situation.
Absolutely.
Like you're basically saying an officer that came to your house on the 6th of January done so because you were a target and he was influenced.
No, not him. I'm not saying he's involved.
I can't draw that connect. I really can't.
I'm not either. I'm not suggesting he's involved. I think he's a decent cop. The way he agreed to come up and look at my office and look at my evidence. Because he was going to arrest me.
The job he done is typical procedure for any type of investigation.
Not in Ontario.
Process.
Not in Ontario. It's not typical in Ontario. So I don't know what I'm dealing with here, but I'm not complaining about the officer. I think he did a great job. I'm glad he let me speak. I'm glad he looked at my evidence. Then he went away and did more investigation, and the file was closed. I'm not complaining about Newfoundland police at all. What I'm here doing is I'm exposing a massive syndicate in Ottawa with a ton of money.
If that's what you're doing, you asked for a supervisor, you sort of probably called the wrong place.
I didn't ask for a supervisor. I just called in, and the woman said, "I'll get."
I was told you wanted to speak to a supervisor.
No, I was trying to file a complaint, and she wouldn't take it. And then she said, "I'll get a sergeant to call you back." And that's all. And I thought, okay, great. That's where I can file a complaint. So now
if you're talking about what you call a syndicate ring or corruption ring in Ontario, and you're saying it sort of entails a lot of components of the judicial system. To me, that would be more on the level of a threat to national security in some way, shape, or form, or the province of jurisdiction. Really.
Well, that's the thing. So they continue to commit crime against me. So so I'm from Ottawa. Well, the Ottawa police are complicit, and I have evidence of that. I mean, they're currently extorting me right now.
They're extorting you.
Yes, because I have multiple civil actions. Currently, I'm undergoing multiple civil actions because I have so much evidence against, torts being committed against me. And I can implicate some of the police officers. So basically what
Okay, so you have a civil dispute going on with them?
Mm-hmm. And basically what they've done is they've said, they've basically said, drop the civil action against Ottawa Police, and if you don't, we're going to have you declared a vexatious litigant so that you cannot sue anyone ever again. And I have that in writing.
Yeah, so you know what that means? That means, and obviously that stuff would have to be tested, but that means they're questioning the validity of your litigations.
No, it means they're crooked cops. I mean,
well, whatever.
They have evidence. I mean,
obviously they wouldn't be able to do that without having it tested in court, but
no, because
to me, that's the message they're trying to send to you.
That brings you back to the judges, right? There's so many crooked judges. All they have to do is line up a crooked judge. I've got dirt on so many judges, it's not funny. Like 30 of them. They break the law with reckless abandon. Here's the simplest example. I've been trying to divorce this guy since 2013. Now, we are married. We have 2 children who I haven't seen in 4 years. This group circumvented the Divorce Act. The Divorce Act stipulates that financial abuse and psychological abuse must be considered by the judge when determining custody and access of the children. Okay, that's a federal law. What this group did, they ripped the kids out of my living room illegally. They jammed a restraining order against me illegally. They gave him sole custody and access under the Child, Youth, and Family Services Act, which is a provincial piece of legislation. And they had no jurisdiction, as I'm still married to this thing, and the Divorce Act has federal paramountcy. Everything that was done by multiple judges in family court to my demise was illegal. And then the group on the criminal side, so basically what he does, he accuses me of criminal harassment 1 month before the divorce trial, lies, says I'm schizophrenic and dangerous, has me arrested, denied bail. I have no history of drugs, weapons, violence, nothing. Anti-charter detention. There was no reason for me to be denied bail based on false allegations by this thing I've been trying to divorce since 2013. So, I mean, there's so many pieces to this. Now, so who do I report it to? I tried to report it to RCMP multiple times. OPP, you can't. They kept sending me back to Ottawa Police. Well, Ottawa Police, all my police complaints go in the shredder because there's enough of them, not all of them, enough of them are part of the syndicate to bury me.
What about the OPP?
We can't do it with the OPP. In Ontario, basically, they accept anonymous tips, but you can't report on crime against yourself. You can only report on crime against someone else, and you just get shuffled back to OPS. So I went up to the RCMP level, and they say, well, we don't have jurisdiction. You got to go back to OPS. Well, I go to OPS, and they basically won't let me. And I've recorded all of this. I showed up with a binder of evidence and links to uploaded evidence, and I went to report on this crime syndicate, and they said, well, we can't take your binder. Wait for a detective to call you. And I said, well, it's all here. Can I just leave it for someone? And so I fill out the complaint, wait for a detective 2 weeks, call back, and it's like, oh, they closed the file. There wasn't enough evidence. So I've been prevented from reporting
this. And you think
this.
that's all planned and systematic towards you as a specific target?
No, I think this group has infiltrated Ottawa Police, and in particular the gatekeepers. So, it's so easy to buy off,
And now it's trickled into the Crown Attorney's office.
The Crown Attorney's office. Well, yeah, and I mean, if you went, it's so obvious, really. Here's the simplest example. Back on my website, if you go to Criminal Justice Newfoundland Style, which is the 4th tab, you can see, scroll down, and you can see on the left-hand side, if you click on that release order, that was my release order after they forced me to hide my website. They were up to 14 charges. 14 charges, including break and enter on my own house where I stole nothing and I had no criminal intent. And then if you go and you click on the one beside it, so finally my attorney says, you know what, just agree to whatever and get out of Ontario, and then we're going to try to have your probation transferred over to someone in Newfoundland or wherever. I was going to go to Nova Scotia, but
so you're facing charges here out of Placentia?
Yeah, but just want to finish. So see the last charge on that one, unlawfully entered a dwelling.
Okay.
And another 3 years where I'm not allowed to speak to my kids. That dwelling was my house, and I went there to tell them the truth because my ex had been told him I moved to Texas because I didn't want to be their mother.
So that'll get tested in court if...
no, it's not. It's all illegal. Like if you go down to number, I mean, it's so obvious. If you go down to...
Have you gone to trial on any of this?
No. No one will let me go to trial. I can't get a divorce trial. I can't get a CAS trial. No criminal trial. I have all the evidence.
So you're facing criminal charges but not going to trial? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, now in Ontario, basically all I did was agreed to this probation order, and I just did it so I could leave because they weren't. I was.
So what about your Newfoundland undertaking?
Yeah. So that's a new one. So basically, I got accused of assault with a weapon. Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Well, whether you agree with them or not, it's irrelevant, though.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that'll get tested through the system, right?
Yeah, that's
fine. You are facing them here. When is your court date?
Well, there isn't one set yet because I'm gonna request a third-party records motion. And if you scroll down the right-hand side, I'm tracking all of this stuff too. I mean, I'm being charged with assault with a weapon. Do you know what the weapons are? If you scroll down to the bottom, that's the weapon. A few advocacy buttons. I was so upset leaving Ontario, is get provoked by this person, so I threw a handful of advocacy buttons at somebody. Nobody was hurt. You know, I just had to leave Ontario. I had to leave my kids in Ontario to fight for them from here after being tormented by this syndicate for, years. And so, I have multiple defenses, at my disposal, including de minimis, right? No one was hurt. Even in their own statements, one woman says, would be really nice if we could charge her with something. So they come up with assault. I'm charged with assault? What? I didn't hurt anyone. I've never hurt anyone in my life. I'm so used to this. I've been accused of so much garbage, it's not funny. So I'm going through. I've been to court 3 or 4 times already, and then the next hearing is in February, where I'm going to submit a third-party records application. Because, I can... These people who accused me on the... I'm not sure what their issue is. Or did they know I was a target? Is happy to just make up some story to have me arrested. I mean, this group has been trying to have me institutionalized and or criminalized for years, since 2013. And all I've done, instead of being buried, all I've done is store all the evidence. So I have evidence against so many individuals. And that's what I'm doing now. I mean, if you want to, this is, so the crooked judges, if you go back to Crime Fighting Andy Jack style, the first tab. Andy Jack's my pen name. I've been writing articles on this forever. And you click on that link, and you go to the very top, it says Book of Documents number 1, and you click on number 1. I'm just starting to upload this now. But there's 169 documents that divisional court had in Ontario when they broke the law and denied my appeal. That's all the evidence of what Kiska has done to me. That's just the labels, and now I have to upload the links on the right-hand side, which will evidence all of it. And that's 3 appellant judges. I've got dirt on actually, I think 4 appellant judges at this point. So that means once I lose in Superior Court of the province, I go to appeal it, and the next level breaks it as well, because they're complicit. David Lametti is hiring, sociopaths to work in the judicial system. I have so much evidence, it's crazy.
Okay, so your purpose of calling us today, and obviously me speaking to you, first of all, I'll just finish with this note, Ms. Moore. Outside of that, if you have any future issues, criminal in nature, obviously there is a mechanism. And again, it's to call the police or file a report online, and they'll be looked at and determined where it will be carried. I can guarantee you from the perspective of this organization, there's nobody that has us hijacked to hold you as a target for any type of systemic issue that's going on elsewhere of corruption, anything like that. So other than that, I don't know how else to help you. I don't think
That's
I don't
okay.
think I can in
No.
that regard. But I
Thank
want to
you.
make sure that you're aware of, the mechanisms and things as you indicate you're newly moved here and that type of thing. And I wish you all the best of luck, obviously, in your future proceedings.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time. I'll just, if I get threatened again, I will use the online venue for filing my complaint.
Sure, and if it's exigent, so obviously we respond to calls and complaints by priority, and not everything reaches the high criteria of priority, not everything is criminal either. But obviously, if it's exigent circumstances where your life is in danger and stuff like that, that's the mechanism for that, and getting a hold of us quick so we can offer some intervention. But based on what you're telling me now, I don't even foresee what you're describing as criminal in nature. But I just want to make sure you're aware of that moving forward. It's not to say that every circumstances can be a little different, and if you get in that situation where you need help, don't hesitate.
Yes, thank you. It's not covert crime for nothing. I mean, they don't want to get caught, right? Their goal is to not get caught. So they're not going to be stupid enough to send me an email and say, Deirdre, you keep this up, I'm going to slit your throat, right? If they did that, then I could call you guys and go, oh, look, I'm getting threatened. My life is being threatened. And go arrest them, and you will. So they don't do that. They lie about me, so I'm arrested, steal everything I own, so I'm homeless and on the street and without income, and hopefully they'll get a high if I off myself, which isn't going to happen. But so these aren't stupid criminals, right? They're not going to put a death threat in simple English.
Yeah, I'm just telling you the parameters which we work within and all that stuff. So,
okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Staff Sergeant Power. I really appreciate it. And, was this call recorded?
Not that I know of.
Oh.
I don't know.
Or the previous one? No?
They could be. You know what? You call the police station, they could very well be.
Okay. Well, I recorded it.
I don't know.
I recorded it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I record all my interactions with police when I can. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you calling me back, and have a great day.
All right. Best of luck.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Best of luck. What? Best of luck. Can't remember what number that is. Best of luck. Best of luck. Common characteristics.